to the cloud.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Corey Center and I help experts clarify their message so they can transform their life's work into their legacy to inspire future generations. I am here with one of my favorite leadership experts, Tony Thayer, who is going to teach us the truth about leadership and how to not be that leader. Today, we are going to be exploring the reason most teams distrust their leaders, so you can clearly see what is causing the dysfunction in your team and take action to resolve it. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tony. I am excited for us to be here together. Now, before we get started with today's interview, I would love for the audience to get a better feel for who you are. I mean, when we met and I heard your story, I was blown away. You know, you took a seemingly impossible situation and used the power of positivity to completely transform it. And the fact that you're with us here today is quite extraordinary. So as I understand it, you worked in corporate as a corporate leader for about 3 decades, and your life took a sudden turn. And as I understand it, you took a few years away from leadership, but now you're coming back as a leadership mentor. Which makes me curious, how has your approach to leadership changed since you first started?
Great. Well, Corey, let me start off with that story you just alluded to bring the audience into that. And, I had this really devastating year. It's just where my whole life seemed to be built on pillars of salt and pillars of sand, and wave came in and washed everything away. And it started off where I had just taken a new job with one of my favorite mentors from a 30-year career. I was really excited about it. I was just getting my feet wet and started to, it was a sales company. So there was just a lot of understanding that. But that business had a sudden downturn that they didn't warn us about. And they just shut down half the offices overnight. And all of a sudden I was without a job. And I just left a job to take this. I was so excited. So that was just a disappointment. I didn't realize that there was a big storm on the horizon blowing in. And that became apparent when I went in for my physical and was diagnosed with cancer, late stage cancer that should have been diagnosed literally years before, and nobody had seen it, which is also another story. But that year, Corey, I wasn't even sure if I was going to survive to the end of the year. Every time I went into a healthcare facility, people's eyes would go white, and they were so worried about me, they couldn't hide their fear for me, which did lots for my fear. But but I had this, I had a couple of operations in between them. I was living in a temporary housing situation because my marriage also fell apart at that time. Everything was going wrong. So I was in someone's bedroom in a sublet, and I was on this phone conversation, and it was boring and tedious, and my mind wandered, and I noticed this poem, and I was just reading it while I was waiting, for a break. And it was a poem a lot of people are familiar with. I'd never seen it before. It was The Guest House by Rumi. And it affected me profoundly. And I had been going around up until that day constantly asking, why is this all happening to me? Why is this happening? I just felt like such a victim in my life.
Understandable.
And I was on an errand the next day. I was walking down the street to go to a shop. And I realized I was asking a whole different question. It just happened to me, and I just happened to notice it. I was asking, how is this happening for me? What is it that I'm not noticing? What is it that I haven't learned in my life that the universe is saying it's time to learn? And I just became open and receptive to this whole thing. And after my second operation, my surgeon said in warning that I would be lucky to be alive for another 5 years. I'd be lucky to see the year 2015. And in 2015, I was talking to my oncologist, doing a checkup, and he said to me, Tony, I don't know how you did it, but you're as healthy now as if you never had cancer, and you never have to see us again. And the way I did it was basically through positive psychology and neuroscience. I just really started looking at how the brain works and how much we miss that can be really important to our energy and our mood. So that's my story, and it's transformed the way I approach leadership.
Got it. It sounds like that focal point, right, is really the transformation. It's changing your focus from the negative to the positive. which leads me
Exactly.
to wonder, how is the focus of most leaders actually creating dysfunction in their teams?
Great question, Corey. And I think most leaders recognize that there's a lot going on at their place of work that they wish wasn't going on. And
Right.
it's what I call the laissez-faire approach to emotional intelligence. It's like emotions are sort of out of the realm of the management toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I do, I call myself the neuro leadership evangelist. Like, I help leaders bring neuroscience into their leadership toolkit. And a lot of that really comes down to creating the kind of environment, the kind of social climate at work where we get away from the old Wild West, everybody's out for themselves and you better watch your back, to getting getting kind of trust, resonance, and involvement from all your people working together that really produces outrageous results. So even though my focus is about these sort of emotional climate that we can generate at work, so that just like I changed the emotional climate within me and continue to live now 6 years later,
Mm-hmm.
managers and leaders can change the emotional climate at work and create outrageous results. It really is. Everybody gets more involved, and when you get right down to it, it's simple. Everybody wants to be part of a winning team. Everybody wants to be part of something bigger than themselves, and everybody wants to feel like they belong and matter. And those are the leverage points that I really work with leaders to generate results with.
I love that. And we're going to go deeper into that in the Awaken the Leader program with Linda Patton. But before we do that, while we're here, I'm really curious, what can our audience, the leaders in the audience, what can they do right now to start making that 1% shift, to start getting their team going in the positive direction?
That's awesome. Yeah, because this is just a short video, and we're introducing ourselves, and I can't wait to meet some people as a result of this. But yeah, I'd love to leave everybody who's watching this video being able to make a transformation in their leadership style that will last them for years, even if they don't engage with us. And so one thing is that we have this negativity bias as part of our brain structure, and it made a lot of sense when we had to worry about lions. You always worry about what could go wrong rather than gloat about what went right. And so all the negativity bias, we hold on to bad feelings like they got Velcro on them, and good feelings slip away and are forgotten about easily, like they're coated with Teflon. And so to really change the dynamic at work, just kind of keep reintroducing positivity unexpectedly, so that people start getting out of that negative rut and coming back up, because the better you feel, the better you work, and the more creative you are. So just a simple thing is to let your staff know that when you're walking around the office, if you have to go across the office like once a week to report to your boss or something like that, let them know that as you're walking there, you might pick somebody at random and say, what's the best thing that's happened to you this week? Nice. And if they know that you're likely to ask them that way, then they won't be thinking about, oh, here comes the boss, I better worry about what she or he would complain about. They start thinking, oh, here comes the boss, I have to think about what's going right. And that's going to cause all 20 of your employees, or 10, or however many you have, every time they see you walking, if they know you're going to ask that question, they're going to immediately go in their minds like, what's right, what's right, what's right. So that can be transformative. That can last you for years. And I hope that's exciting and helpful.
That's awesome. I love that. It seems like, the reason we're talking about most teams distrust their leadership is from a lack of connection and leadership actually focusing in the wrong place. And this actually allows us to get the team focused in the right place. But first, as the leadership in that team, you need to be looking at what's going right too. Right? Like, as the leader, we're going to be aware of all the problems, right? That's part of steering the ship. But if we can start focusing on what's right, and we're constantly in that space, we elevate everybody with us, right?
Yeah. If we can start asking, why is this happening to me? And start thinking about, like, what is life trying to show me? And being receptive and open, it can go a long way to changing your results.
Love it. So stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, why is this happening for me? You get a totally different experience of any situation. Thank you, Tony, so much. I really appreciate you being here to share your wisdom with us today. And I am looking forward to being back here tomorrow with another one of my favorite leadership experts, where we're going to dive into time and explore all of the juicy goodness that you can actually produce with more time. So I will see you there. Thank you once again, Tony. This has been awesome. I will see you next time.
Okay, that was fun.
All right.